Here from iBio Institute, and what I'm going to do in this video is give you an overview of how the escape room should go so that you have an overall idea of the process that's going to be happening. First of all, you should have piles of envelopes. Each of the envelopes we've already set up in other videos, but each one of them is labeled with a group color and a number. So up in the front of the room at the start, we have all of the envelopes laid out for each of the teams. They will start with envelope number 1 and they will work through to envelope number 5 to finish. The escape room is actually set up in 2 sets of challenges, and the first challenge is going to be to find the room that a chemical leak is in, and the second is to find the solution that will neutralize the chemical. And so this is the way in which this is going to work. So you're going to put your campers into teams. Teams of 3 are best because they can split up the work a little bit and help each other out. So each group is going to need to have 3 things at the start. They are going to need to have their periodic table that they will have used in the pH stations. They are also going to need their copy of the clue sheet. The clue sheet is going to lead them through challenge 1, along with a map that's going to help them with challenge 1, and also with challenge 2, which is going to help them to find the leak. So all of their answers to the puzzle are all going to go here. That's going to make it easier for them to organize themselves and actually solve all of the riddles together. So they're going to need that. At the start of the escape room, you are going to give them these and tell them that these are going to help them to organize them. And then you may or may not choose to walk them through the start of it. In a real escape room, they wouldn't get an introductory thing. They would get an introduction from whoever was doing the escape room. Now, this is your option, but there are 2 different challenge sheets, one for challenge 1 and one for challenge 2. So we're going to walk through each one of these. So the first one is challenge 1. And basically, when you read through this, it basically says that they are at a hospital. That is the map that they have right here. And they are actually they've been affected by a chemical leak, and they're depending on this team of people to find out where the leak is very quickly. They have narrowed it down to 8 areas, and this would be my suggestion that as you read through this, you have the teams circle each of those rooms. So there are 8 rooms that they have to eliminate to find the one with the leak. So respiratory therapy, intensive care unit, emergency room, surgery, pharmacy, cardiology, rehabilitation, and the dining room. So that is all labeled very clearly on the map. And like I said, if they circle those, then they can eliminate any of the other areas. Now, their challenge is to find the leak by the end of 60 minutes. And the location of they need to solve the puzzles in order to find and stop the leak. You may choose to do the 60-minute timer. We found that made some of our campers very nervous. So we ended up saying you want to get as far as you can in the least amount of time, and we kind of kept track of where people were at any given time, and that's how we celebrated every single time they came up with a lockbox code. So that's the challenge. Now, once you have actually discussed the challenge, then all of your groups are going to get envelope number 1. Inside envelope number 1 are the puzzles that that you have set up and that are listed on this facilitator sheet. So whoever the facilitators are in the room should all have this sheet. There are the contents of the envelope, but there are also some hints. We want the campers to figure this out on their own, but they may run into some trouble. So these are questions that you can ask them to kind of push them in the right direction. There are going to be some cases where pushing them in the right direction is not even enough, and you may want to actually help them by giving them part of the answer or kind of pushing them towards that answer. So the answers are all listed here as well, including the lockbox code. So the campers will start working on their puzzles, and when they have figured out what the lockbox code is, they're going to fill out the lockbox code form, and then they are going to bring that up to you in the front, right? They will keep their envelope contents because there are things in that envelope that they're going to need for other puzzles, right? But they can bring up the one that says, this is our lockbox code. Once they have that, that is going to allow you to give them envelope number 2. And we go by the same process, right? It's going to tell them what to do. Envelope number 2 is going to contain the Petri dish top. That's going to go with table 1 where the other part of the Petri dish is, and that is one of their puzzles. They are also, at puzzle number 6, going to be going to the table with the cabbage water, which is table number 2, and the materials are there. And having done that in their pH experimentation, they should know what to do. However, again, you may need to help them along in making sure that they remember what they did in their cabbage water experiments. Okay, but once they get done with all of these puzzles, they should come up with their lockbox code, which is the colors in order of solution from the cabbage water table. And when they come up to the front, then you are going to give them envelope number 3. Then envelope number 3 is going to have another set of puzzles. It's going to have another transparency piece. That transparency piece is actually going to carry into the next challenge. But the rest of these are all puzzles that are going to lead them to the room. By the time they get done, they should have eliminated all of the rooms on the map except for one. And the one that is the one that they should be looking for is the surgery. Right? So once they have that code, then they will have their little form that says, oh, we figured out the room. And in our case, we chose to post those up in the front so that we knew where people were in the challenge. Or you can simply collect those. And they move on to the second challenge, which is finding the solution that they will need to deactivate the chemical. Now, when they came up and did that, basically our facilitator would go through this next challenge sheet with them, but they would do it verbally, although you can actually give them the sheet. But basically it says, okay, great job. You located the leak, but we were unable to stop it quickly enough, and now we actually need to neutralize the fumes. And we have the neutralizer chemical, but it's in the storage room, and there are so many neutralizer solutions that we need to figure out which one is going to do the job for us. So their job is to figure out which solution that's going to be. That's going to start out with envelope number 4. Envelope number 4 is going to have a word find with a piece of cellophane that they have to figure out what to do. You don't want to tell them to line that up. You want them to try and figure that out on their own. But again, you can help them if they have trouble. They also have a riddle that they're going to need to do. And this is going to be based with the periodic table. So they're going to want to do that. And they're also going to be eliminating the bases because of the way that actually works out. They're going to know at the end of that puzzle that they're looking for an acid. And then they're going to do the titration. Now this titration is going to be table number 3. They're going to have their solutions there for the titration, the NaOH and the phenolphthalein that they used in their earlier solutions or their earlier experiments. And they may need some reminders of how to do that, so you want to kind of be mindful of that. But when they get done, they should have put those solutions in order from most acidic to least acidic. And when they do that, they're going to fill out their lockbox code and bring that up to you, which will bring them to the final envelope, which is envelope number 5. In envelope number 5, they're going to find the last transparency piece, which they will be able to put together with the other 2 that they've gotten in previous envelopes to find out that they need to use the fortune teller. If you and your group have decided to put the fortune teller in already assembled, then they will need to use the hints that are on that sheet in there to utilize the fortune teller to find the solution is solution A. When they get done, there is a final sheet that says, hooray, we found the solution. They're going to bring that up to the top or up to the front, and then you will be able to post that and go, hooray. You will also want to put down the time in which it took for them to do that so that you can say, oh, you did this in 45 minutes or you did this in an hour or whatever it is that they did. Not everyone will make it to the end of the entire entire escape room. It is going to be something that is going to be fairly challenging for all of them to do. But if every single time they come up with a lockbox code or a solution, if you make a big deal out of it, you can post it up on the wall or whatever it is that you choose to do, that is going to make every single one of these envelopes an accomplishment, and they will be proud of what they did. So hopefully that is helpful to you in getting ready to do your own escape room. Again, if you have any questions, please make sure that you send those by email, and we will answer them in the FAQ.